Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Excellency to Kiai Haji Muhammad Hasan Mutawakil Allah SHMM as the chairman of Jannasa Genggong Islamic Boarding School, the Excellency to the rector of Unjah Genggong Islamic University, Associate Professor Dr. Abdul Aziz Wahab BAMEG, the Excellency to Supervisor 1, that is Dr. Zainuddin MPD, the Excellency to Supervisor 2, that is Mr. Ferry MPD, and unforgettable my beloved parents, that is my mother. Okay, my name is Iqbal Dwi Maulana from English Education Department, X semester. We'll make a video about the explanation about my proposal thesis with the title Qualitative Study on the Imbalance Between Theory and Practice in Student Speaking Ability. Okay, the first slide is about the reason for choosing the title. In this slide, I have 4 reasons for choosing the title. The first is there is a gap between student theoretical knowledge and their actual speaking ability. Although students have learned English for many years, their communicative competence is still low. Second is, based on observation at Istiqlal English course, English instruction tends to emphasize grammar, explanation, and written exercises more than speaking practice. These conditions create an imbalance between theory and practice. Third is about most previous studies focus on teaching methods or speaking difficulties in general, but they do not specifically explore the imbalance between theory and practice in Pesantren based on Istiqlal English course. The next is, therefore, this study aims to provide deeper insight to this issue. Next is background of the study. The slide explains the general situation that became the reason for the research. Students learn English for many years. They are good at grammar and vocabulary. However, they are not confident or skilled in speaking English. This happens because the learning process focuses on theory than practice. So, the background shows that students know English at theory well but cannot speak it well. Okay, next slide is about the research gap and novelty. The slides explain what makes this research different from previous studies. The research focuses on in Pesantren-based English, Istiqlal English course, Islamic boarding school environment. The research used a qualitative descriptive method, which means the researcher studies and describes the situation in detail. The researcher also explained students' real experiences and opinions about learning English. So the novelty of this research is studying students' real experiences about the gap between theory and speaking practice in Pesantren English course. Next slide is about the research problem. The research problem of this research is, as the main issue of this research is the imbalance between theory and practice in student speaking ability. This research problem is make the students low in speaking ability because the students learn so many theories than the practice. Okay, next is about the research question. Slide explain the main question of the research. The first is what factors cause the imbalance between theory and practice? This question aims to find out the reasons why theory is more dominant than practice in speaking learning. Second is, what difficulties do students face in speaking despite learning the theory? This question aims to understand what the problems students experience when speaking English even though they already learned the theory. Simple conclusion, this research tries to understand why there is an imbalance between theory and practice in English learning, what difficulties students face, and how it affects their speaking ability. Next is about the research objective. The slide explains the goals of the research. There are 3 main objectives. The first is identify the factors of imbalance. The research aims to find out what factors cause the imbalance between theory and practice in learning speaking. Second, explore students' speaking difficulties. The study also aims to explore the difficulties students face when speaking English. The third is understand its impact on speaking ability. The research wants to understand how this imbalance affects students' speaking ability. Next is about the significance of the study. The slide explains the benefits of the research. The first is for teachers. The study can help teachers to understand the importance of balancing theory and practice in teaching speaking. Second is for institution. The institution can use the result of the study to evaluate the improve the English learning program. Third is for the students. This research can help students improve their speaking ability by encouraging more practice. Last is for future researchers. Future researchers can use the study as a reference for further research related to speaking skills. Next is about the chapter 2 that about the conceptual framework. The slide explains the conceptual framework of the research. The main problem in this study is the imbalance between theory and practice in learning English speaking. The framework consists of three parts. First, factors. These are the two causes of the imbalance, such as too much theory, limited speaking practice, teaching method that focus more on explanation than practice. Second is difficulties. Because of the imbalance, students face several difficulties, including lack of confidence, fear of making mistake, and speaking anxiety. The third is impact. These difficulties affect the students' speaking ability, such as low speaking ability, poor fluency when speaking English. For conclusion or in a short explanation, the framework shows that too much theory and limited practice can create difficulties and negatively affect students' speaking. The next slide is about the data collection. The slide explains how the researchers collect the data for the study. There are three methods used in this research. The first is observation. Observation means that the researcher directly observes the learning process in the classroom. The researcher looks at how the teacher teach and how the students participate in speaking activities. Second is interview. Interview means the researcher asks questions to students or teachers to get deeper information about their experiences, their difficulties in speaking English, and their opinions about learning that focuses more on theory than practice. The third is about the documentation. Documentation means the researchers collect data such as photos, learning records, or other documents related to the teaching and learning process. So, by using observation, interviews, and documentation, the researcher, I can collect complete and reliable data. Okay, maybe that's that all from me. I am Iqbal Dwi Maulana. I'm so sorry for making mistake. And thank you for all my friends or for my supervisor 1, supervisor 2, and also all directors of Unza Genggong Islamic University. I am so sorry for making mistake. Unless I say, Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.